All right, let's get this going here. All right, I think we are good. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm trying to get more into long form video content on my channel. And I thought I'd kick it off with doing 30 fun facts about me so you guys can get to know me a little bit better. I've seen other creators make videos like this and I think they're a lot of fun. So let's get to it. Hi, my name is Allison. I go by Sincerely Allison online. I am 5'11" and 3/4 tall, but most of the time you'll hear me saying I'm 6 feet tall. It's just easier to round up. I am a natural ginger. I was born with red hair and blue eyes, but I tend to go a bit blonder. My hair is slowly turning more into a strawberry blonde, like light brown color, but I still identify with being a redhead. I have 6 legal names. When I was born, my name's Allison Elizabeth Carey, and then I won't get into my other 2 last names, which is my mom's maiden name and my dad's last name. And then I got married 3 years ago, and I have my husband's last name now. So passports are a lot of fun. I can never just go to that kiosk you can go to insert your passport and get your boarding pass. I have to actually go to a person because my passport is 2 pages. So thanks, Mom. I actually had a family member. It was related to my grandfather who was on the Titanic. He was from Ontario, Canada, where I'm from. He was visiting family in Ireland, but went to England. Actually had a ticket in second class with his buddy, but his buddy got sick, so couldn't make it onto the boat. So he exchanged both tickets for a first class ticket. And he made it on the boat, obviously. And when the Titanic was sinking, he actually ended up making it onto a raft. But the raft split in half, and he was on the side of the people who died. And there was some people that were able to make it. So that's kind of a cool story. I am an only child. My favorite color is blue, and my favorite movie is Say Anything. I love all 80s movies, but that's my number 1. I married the love of my life 3 years ago, and we currently do not have any children, but that could change. I am not really good at playing any sports, except for tennis and volleyball, kind of. I'm not a competitive person, so when I was growing up, I was always asked to play basketball because of my height, but the coaches were always annoyed because I couldn't play. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 22 years old. I had a pretty bad accident when I was 17, and it freaked me out from driving, but I eventually got there. Even though I was born in Canada, when I was 7 days old, my parents moved me back to Michigan, where my dad was working at the time for the job he had. We're all Canadian, but the first 3 years of my life were in Kalamazoo, Michigan. And I don't remember any of it, just through pictures. I was an extra in a movie once called Men with Brooms. It's a very Canadian movie. And I was in it with my cousin, and we thought we were going to be super cool by holding a poster. And it was one of the scenes where they were curling, and it was like we were part of the people watching in the stands. So we decided to sit at the furthest stand at the back, which I don't know why. And obviously we got cut off because they were trying to make it look like there was more people in the stands. So I was in the movie technically, but you can't see me. I went to university in British Columbia, which I loved. I lived there for the better part of 10 years, and I would move back in a heartbeat, but my family and friends are in Ontario. I love dogs more than cats. I don't hate cats, but if I was to pick, it would be dogs. A country I visited that I would definitely want to live in would be Switzerland. I just love the architecture there and the vibes, but it's too expensive. We have a family cottage about 8 hours north of where I live in the GTA, and people think it's wild that I drive up there 3 times a year. But I'm used to it, and I love it, so. When I was 11 years old in 1996, I went to the Atlanta Olympics. Didn't compete, because whenever I've said that to people, they're like, what did you compete in? I'm like, I was 11. I just went with my parents to watch some of the competitions, and it was a lot of fun, and I remember a lot of that. When I was a child, I was chubby and had no self-confidence, so my mom signed me up for a modeling school, and if you're a child from the 80s and 90s, you probably will remember those schools that were in malls. And pretty interesting. Didn't get any gigs from it. Pretty sure they just scammed us, but I did learn how to walk a runway and how to put foundation on with a sponge. My favorite food is pizza. I will die on that hill, and I have to have dipping sauce no matter what. My favorite drink is ice cold water. I know that sounds really odd, but it is ice cold water. And coffee. Love coffee. Cannot live life without coffee. My favorite artist, I have two right now, and I'm probably going to be laughed at. Michael McDonald from the Doobie Brothers and Christopher Cross. I am huge into 70s and 80s music right now, especially easy listening yacht rock vibes. But if you were to ask me who my favorite artist is of all time, Britney Spears. She's my girl. I saw Britney Spears when I was 12 at the mall near my house when she was performing. This is when pop stars used to perform at malls. And her Hit Me Baby One More Time single just came out. Her CD wasn't out yet. So she was doing like a North American mall tour. I saw her when I was 19 for one of her big first shows. And then I saw her on my 30th birthday. I went to Vegas and I saw her in her residency. So I kind of like grew up with her in every way. I've driven across Canada twice, once by myself and one with a friend. Never do it by yourself because you won't blink after day 3 just staring at the road the whole time. I was also in a time crunch, so yeah. I've been lucky enough to travel the world. I haven't been to obviously every single country, but I have been to most of Europe. I've been to most of the Caribbean. I've been to probably 70% of the states in the United States. I've traveled throughout Canada. I have not been to the territories or PEI yet, which on my bucket list. I am absolutely terrified of snakes. If I see one on TV, I will have a heart attack. If I see one in person, I will probably actually die. Like, I can't deal with that at all, even if it's a gardener snake. I will scream, stand on a chair, and never get off of it. My husband and I bought my childhood home with my mom in it. So I'm back to living in a house I've lived in since I was 3 years old, which is kind of neat, but weird at the same time. When I was 24 years old, I opened up my first women's clothing store that I had for 3 years. It was a wild, amazing, great experience. And then I had an online store, but I closed all of that down in the early 2010s. And in 2019, I started a subscription box company for dogs. And COVID happened, which was, for me, really good. So business definitely boomed. And then I got diagnosed with cancer. And because I was doing the whole operation on my own, and it was peak COVID, I had to stop doing my business. I might get back into it one day, but yeah. So I had cervical cancer, diagnosed late 2020, and I've been in remission since 2021, the same year I got married. Let me know if you want a story time about that whole wild road I went down with cancer. I was once on an international news program that I had no idea I was on. I had someone on TikTok message me and say, "Hey, I just saw you on this Australian newscast." And I'm like, what? They took a piece of a TikTok video I made and they were doing a story about something. So looked that up, and by the time I looked up on it, there was already 1 million views, and that was pretty crazy. Did not realize that. I have never, for the life of me, been able to do a cartwheel. Can't do one. Impossible. And at 39 years old, definitely can't do one. I have been a content creator, like really using it as a part-time gig for the last 5 years. It's a lot of fun. It's a learning curve. I'm definitely growing organically. I'm not an overnight sensation, nor will I be. But it really is a lot of fun. I really enjoy doing stuff like this. And I'm plus size and proud. If you have any other questions, please let me know in the comments. And please subscribe. Have a great day, everyone.